Parental Glideance, then?
Yeah.
Woo! I love this episode!
As do I. I love this episode as well.
God,
I
felt
so cringy in this episode. Oh, the cringe is real, but it's done so well.
This is how you do cringe. I love this episode.
Please.
Well, there you have it. Good night, everybody.
No!
Please savor the cringe for me. The cringe is real. It's almost the amount of for me personally. It's like it's like the I can't think of what that Newbie Dash episode cringe, but done a little better. Like the cringe is there, but it's just pulled back just slightly. You know what I mean?
I would actually say this is Newbie Dash done right.
Oh yeah. No, I'm with you, but like. I'd say Newbie Dash is one of the worst atrocities of cringe ever to come upon the earth. This is what they like. This is how you do cringe.
Yeah, cringe is another kind of humor, like shock value, black comedy. It can be enjoyed if done well, and I do feel like at points this episode hit it out of the park there.
For me, it was kind of like all the time it was hitting out of the park, which led to an epic
go in order, or are we just doing it freestyle now?
I think we're freestyling at the moment, unless somebody wants to like full out say their opinion right here and now.
Voice out. So
anyone?
Well, past analysis is first in order. So would you like to?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Honestly, I'd say that this episode was one of the best episodes of the season. When it came out, I'd probably say it was like second best, with Rock Solid Friendship being the best. Now I would probably say it's third best because a good one is on its way. However, like this episode just had a great usage of all the different perspectives that it used, because it had. It had Scootaloo's perspective of loving Dash but not being in the family. It had the parents' perspective, well done, of just being really, really
parents.
Being very, very supportive. I would put it.
Very, very supportive. That's one way of putting it.
The rainbow perspective. The Wonderbolt perspective I thought was really fun. I actually liked that the Wonderbolts treated it like a normal situation, and it was only really Rainbow who was like embarrassed by it. I thought that was an amazing touch.
Usually speaking, when it comes to these particular episodes, when they do that, it's like oh my god, my parents are so cringy, and then everybody's like
yeah,
totally cringy.
Yeah. Though I don't know, like whenever you have different shows, depending on like exactly where the show is supposed to, the setting of it, there are plenty of those embarrassing moments in, like, I don't know, a cartoon that's like featured in like high school where the crowd laughs at it, whereas the Wonderbolts were really, really cool about it. I thought that was great. I liked how they showed that little touch with the flashbacks, the Rainbow Dash race flashbacks, where you could see like they were kids then, and they were getting upset by that.
I'm sorry. I'll wait.
Okay. The only real thing I'd say kind of threw me off, and I can see why they did it. There is an in-episode explanation for it. The Rainbow Dash change was really fast. Like, really, really fast. It hit like a brick. And, like, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought that they could have done a better job of, like, easing into that. Because it was very sudden. I have my own guesses as to why, like, because Scootaloo is someone whom she really likes, that Scootaloo likes her as a prodigy, and losing that was something that she wasn't really Like that was like a stopgap for her. So I thought that was nice. Overall, the big impression I got of this episode when I watched it was that it was just very real. This episode felt like something that could happen. It was real. Whereas other episodes that have been very fake, very like you can tell when watching it that this isn't a cartoon. This isn't like and in a lot of cases we're talking about a slice of life show. So I mean, if it was fantasy, maybe you could probably say, well, yeah, I understand why this definitely isn't real life. But because it's slice of life, there are those episodes where, like, if they really put in the effort and they balance it all out well, it can feel like something that could actually happen, and you can be really immersed in it. Or, the inverse of, wow, this is not how interaction happens. And I'd lean on the former rather than the latter for this one. This episode has, something I could see happening in like so many different areas. This is like a thing. This is something that people go through. It's very relatable. It's not only just relatable. It's like human in a way. Like this is a basic. I almost think that this is so core to like humanity that everyone on some level has to have had some feel like this where they don't like their parents cheering for them, or doing something embarrassing, like anything embarrassing, because everyone on some level goes through embarrassment. So yeah.
May I be the next one to actually say my thoughts?
Nobody else has any objections?
Alrighty then. Honestly, as an overview quickly before I get into the nitty gritty, watch the episode with second with on the 8-bit reaction. Like I noticed how like at the end, because of like the way like after the 2/3 of like the happy cringe, that like the serious turn it had kind of threw me off and kind of made me say that it was only good. But now looking at it again after a few weeks of watching the episode beforehand, I would have to say this episode, it's actually tied up for second place right now for season 7 right now.
Oh wow, nice.
Like it's like Rock Solid Friendship, the one you mentioned, Pass. That might technically be number 3 on my ranking list because I really do like Rock Solid Friendship.
Yeah, Rock Solid Friendship was great.
And to round up the top 5, I would just say All Bottled Up.
That was also a great one as well.
So it just feels like in this episode, like I was just too intoxicated from the amount of happiness I felt for Scootaloo actually meeting Rainbow Dash's parents. Like, I'm not a Rainbow Dash at all. Just saying.
I'm a total Rainbow
Dash. Away from Rainbow as much as possible because I'm not into like that sort of type of girl, that personality that she shows.
I don't blame you.
But this episode really helped me empathize with her. It showed like some of the inspirational route that Rainbow can have on myself, like as a character that I don't like, but I can respect to some degree, like in Wonderbolt Academy.
Yeah, I would always say that Rainbow Dash is she's a character that I wouldn't necessarily say she's the best out of the main 6, but she is definitely not like annoying characters. Starts with a P and is
for me it starts with a T.
Oh, really?
For me, it starts with a PA.
So yeah. Well, let's start against that part.
Yeah. Well, interesting thing, Nova.
Whoa.
So you said T?
Yes.
Twilight's actually probably my favorite. That's hilarious.
She used to be my favorite from the very beginning. Now she's in the last part of the main 6 for me.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what.
Well, let's not get into who is best pony now, or we'll be here all night.
We're not going to do that.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that today.
I'm just asking a question.
Another day.
I wasn't trying to get into it.
Another time. The topic of best pony will be spoken. Although we all know who is worst pony.
It's not the P one.
Starlight.
No,
I was actually going to say that freaking the character from Rarity Takes Manhattan.
Oh,
Suri Polomare
oh,
or Coco.
Worst pony solely for the reason that she irritates the living shit out of me.
oh yeah, Suri Polomare. Just
Okay, but yeah, let's not get into best and worst pony now, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, like anyway, continuing on, like Scootaloo just accidentally coming across like Rainbow's parents was like a fangasm moment, like even more than Rainbow becoming a Wonderbolt for me.
Yeah.
Like though like that moment still reached high with me, but then the fact that they continued with the hype of this episode showed how much of a marked improvement they did over Newbie Dash.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I was just enjoying the fact that these time capsule parents who weren't even informed that their daughter had become a Wonderbolt still had so much praise for her and such, and even was like going into creepy stalker territory, but in a fun way. And I was like,
yeah, it's like they loved Rainbow Dash like so much that they weren't even miffed by the fact that she didn't tell them, which is a huge thing, considering that was her lifetime goal.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Her first apple.
Their parents are so cool, actually. Like, I wouldn't be ashamed to have Rainbow's parents. Like, seriously, like
I would be very ashamed. I would be super ashamed to have Rainbow's parents.
Yeah.
no, like,
There is such a thing as too much.
Yes, there was a lot of love.
Well, yeah,
there is such a thing as too much love. I still get really embarrassed whenever I look through my parents' photography, and I always end up stopping at the point where I see my baby pictures and my baby toys and also my baby hairs for every haircut.
That kind of reminds me when my mom was like, stop pulling all my baby teeth.
Creepy.
But also,
after a while, they kind of rot and they get brown and gross. And ugh.
oh, don't worry. I threw them out when I was 8 years old. I was smart. I wasn't smart for an 8-year-old.
I was smart for an 8-year-old.
But it was like continuing on, comparing to like my own parents. Like my mom, when she was younger, she was super cheering for me, even when I was on like some sort of Special Olympics when I was 7 years old. And even though I had little context about the idea of why I was chosen for the Special Olympics, like I felt very happy when she was like cheering me on, quite happy despite her difficulty with the English language. Yeah. And then my father was supporting me when I was like 9 to 10 years old for like the soccer team, like supporting me and becoming a super supportive parent, even though he wasn't energetic, but he was still steadfast and considered the best parent to watch over me. So I can somewhat relate to it, not in the energy department, but in the supportive parents department. But anyway, the fact that Scootaloo and the parents have continued fangasms over every single little thing, it was like, Scootaloo, why weren't you? It's like, she could have easily been a daughter for them. Like,
they kind of just instantly adopted her too. Like as soon as they talk about Rainbow Dash, they're kind of like, you are now ours.
Yes.
They're kind of like Tarzan's mom. They're just like, hi, I found you. Goodbye. I'm taking this with me.
And it just keeps on continuing on for like when Rainbow's part of the episode is introduced, like, you didn't tell us you became a Wonderbolt. We're so happy for you. And then the fact that the Wonderbolts took it maturely. I was just, well, I wasn't upset at you guys over Rainbow Falls, but I was upset at you guys over Newbie Dash. This forgives Newbie Dash. Just a little bit of a Just die, Newbie Dash, die.
Oh my gosh! You should join my crusade. We are going to kill Movie Dash like no one's ever believed.
No,
Don't do that.
I just.
Come again?
Oh, sorry. Things, Snog.
No. I was just saying, don't kill Newbie Dash. I kind of love the cringe there.
Oh,
I like
wow!
But anyway, like continuing on with the episode, like the way like that Rainbow's parents were shown to be very realistically overdoing it with like the fireworks during the Wonderbolt show, and them still not giving Rainbow any crap for it. Like it just kept on continuing on the hype from the episode, and then when Rainbow actually snapped at her parents, I was like,
everybody
on one
was
hand,
like,
justice.
but on the other hand,
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, I don't want to say them heartbroken. They're good-willed people. They're good-willed
they
people.
meant so well, and yet you know that their misunderstandings is so very. They're too much, and I'm pretty sure that those fireworks are not only a fire hazard but a flight hazard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Probably
kinda
also
lucky
not
that they didn't
allowed.
shoot the Wonderbolts out of the sky.
Yeah, I'm not the only one who thought that, right?
Yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah, me too. Like it almost felt like uncomfortable imagery was popping up in my head. I was like, wait, why am I thinking like this during My Little Pony? This is supposed to be escape from reality. Stop it with the
My thought was that they almost killed the Wonderbolts. So yeah.
That was kind of really.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something, but I just forgot it.
You can bring it back up when you actually remember it, all right? You can
Yeah.
definitely
Give
do that, Clint.
but just
Right.
enough time to finish up.
Okay. I just remembered.
I'll just finish up by saying, like, even though, like, the way that it, like, moved swift, like, it felt like a tone shift for me, like, how everyone felt that way for the season 3 finale. I never felt that way about any episode of My Little Pony until this episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a big one for you then.
Yeah, it was, and that's why I rated so lowly the last time, like just considering it to be like the same quality as all the other episodes of season 7. But now that I actually step back and recollect on the episode on my own terms after 3 weeks, yeah, it's one of the best episodes for season 7. And
Yeah.
like it feels like right now I'm highly favoriting a lot of the high energy comedy / action episodes of season 7. So yeah, that's why it's tied for number 2 right now with another episode. So it's just, I just hope like we could get like more episodes like this. And I definitely, one flaw of the episode I can definitely say is the flashback with Rainbow, because I can agree with other reviewers. The fact that they had the Wonderbolts when they were little, it just doesn't work. It just,
Okay, good. I was the only one that kind of
It
like
was
falls
weird.
everything apart, and it's like the weirdest shit ever. Like, how come she didn't geek out about this earlier? Like, you know, that seems like something that you would be like, oh, I went to the senior division and I beat my heroes in the race. You know, that would have been
Lightning Dust had already met.
yeah, like Lightning as well. Like it's just like WTF? What the heck?
I mean, it is weird. Don't get me wrong. It's weird. I can see how it would be possible. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
It is
But then it would be like, you know, hey, remember me? We went to these races together when we were kids, no?
no.
Yeah,
Exactly.
probably. No, yeah, we don't remember.
Yeah, but it's like it just feels the most awkward about Lightning Dust herself because she was number 1, and it's like it's retconning in a bad way for the Lightning Dust in the Wonderbolts episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
See,
the Wonderbolts. It's implied they're a little bit older, didn't it? Because that's why.
Yeah. I mean, I know that they said that Rainbow Dash was the youngest in the senior division, but still, I got the impression that like Spitfire and Soren were several years older than her.
Yeah, 10 years.
She did, though, to be fair to the episode, she did say that she got last, but she was the youngest, like, she got upgraded to, like, the elders.
That was a
The
nice
elder
touch.
but
Yeah.
it still doesn't seem to coincide right.
It doesn't coincide right, but the age thing, I think that maybe.
No, but even if she's in the senior division, the ponies in the senior division wouldn't be more than maybe 3 or 4 years older than her, I would guess.
Yeah, I have no idea on that. I don't know how old they would be.
But yeah.
Okay, so
we could go about this all night.
There's also one more point I have to make about the beginning of the episode that no one has even mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fact that they retread season 3 to season 7 moments for Rainbow Dash in possibly the most humorous and fastest way possible for fans, and it was just like, this is the best recap I've ever seen. This is the best recap My Little Pony's ever done for history.
And like the parents genuinely getting into that was so funny.
When you said you were going to mention something from the very beginning of the episode, I thought you were going to talk about Scootaloo launching herself to Cloudsdale.
That part.
No, that was definitely dangerous, but that's not the part I was going to talk about. I was actually going to talk about how the flashback was weird as fuck.
So there we are.
Yeah, so definitely I feel like Rainbow Dash's parents are. Oh yeah, that's right. I gotta have to say this. To disagree with one certain reviewer, Rainbow Dash's mom is the cutest design for a mom of all the main 6.
Who's the reviewer?
Sketchy. Yeah, like
Who?
Sketchy the Changeling.
Oh yeah, Sketchy's cool.
Yeah, like Sketchy dissed on Rainbow's mom's design because of the bowl cup, but for me, it's like, she was the most precious little cinnamon bun I've ever saw. I was just like, oh my god, I gotta hug you. You're such a motherly figure. Like she looked like a paler version of Rainbow's coat for like the cerulean coat, which kind of made sense because she would be older. But I liked her hair design, and I like how she came in like all casual with a hoodie. Like I don't know what draws me into that character design, but it's just really darn cute. When you said ponies would be this cute, I didn't think you meant the adult ones. I thought you meant the children. Yeah, so I would rate this episode as a grade episode, like the first grade. No, well, technically it would be the second grade episode from the premiere, since All Bottled Up exists. And and Rock Solid Friendship was close to be great, but it kind of forced like the Pinky as the annoying plot device, which does detract it somewhat. Like, it's a high good episode, but yeah, second grade episode.
I would love to talk to you about that episode after this podcast.
Didn't we already debate that in the last Cafe Cast?
No, I'm not debating it. I'm just trying to find out because he wasn't there, was he?
I was there.
I believe he was.
Were you?
All right, we can reminisce later, but anybody else?
Sorry.
No worries. Thoughts to give on this episode?
I have some thoughts.
Go for it.
Okay, here it goes. Parental Guidance was another episode that yet again showcases a character's development. In this case, a character's true self. You ever heard of the term, when you see someone angry, you see their true self? Well, take a look at how Rainbow Dash acts during the episode. Yes, their parents are being supportive and bringing, parents that are, full of cringe. But that's besides the point. This episode showcases one of the many times Rainbow Dash has been applied pressure to the self-image. Rainbow Dash is a character who cares about her self-image a lot, and when she gets mad, she takes that to another level. It seems that, it causes her to do things she hasn't done before, and causing her to actually yell at her own parents. Even Scootaloo said at the canon of the show, "This is not like you." This made Rainbow Dash realize her frivolous actions and make her to learn to not take her parents for granted, or anything for that matter. This episode demonstrates Rainbow's, and by future episodes to use that knowledge, similar to how Fluttershy learned to be assertive. Again, the writers have showcased something vital in this episode, and I definitely think it was another great episode, and I rate it from a 1 to 10 scale, 8.5.
Another 8.5, cool.
Oh wow! I never thought to see that episode in such a light, like Rainbow showing like a different color, like when she gets upset. Like that does make sense. I mean, like some of the episodes in which people consider bad, like Rainbow kind of shows like a very negative facade of her. Like it shows a very negative facade of her true self. Really.
Yes, it's similar to Fluttershy's situation.
Yeah.
You know what?
Sorry.
You mean she has another shade of red?
You could say that, yes. Okay, does anyone have any questions about it?
I've got a few comments about the episode.
Go for it.
All right. I really liked this episode. It was well structured. The perspectives were all over the place, and I liked that because there was like, hey, here's my side. Hey, here's this side. Hey, here's that side. And on one hand, I really like the lesson that Rainbow Dash learns. I love the development that Scootaloo provides. One thing I really got to fault this episode, other than the fact that the little flashback is like, what the fuck? Why? How? This makes no sense. Why does this? No, I don't understand. No, the one thing that really bothered me is the fact that the parents didn't learn anything. And while on one hand I can see that we're just kind of going to be that way, we'll try to hold back. No, they're just kind of like, this is a little embarrassing. Kind of like my own parents when I'm like, Mom, please, no. And then she's like, but sweetie, you did the exact same thing when I was on a date, so now I get revenge.
Wait, your mom said
there's some deep-rooted shit in my family. Don't question it. Trust me. It hurts your head less.
Fair enough.
I do like the overall opinions of this episode, the overall episode. It was not only about family, it was also about a lack of family, the absence of family, the want of lack of family, and the presence of lack of family. If you know me, I love my family. I just don't particularly like being around them as much. And I think that this episode pretty much screams out exactly what that might feel like. Like, you love your family. They might embarrass you, but sometimes that's just what you need. And I do also like the idea of perspective on what people thought Rainbow Dash was. When people were talking about, what was Rainbow Dash's family life like, they're usually assuming, she must be like a sibling of many different siblings. Her mom was probably a pageant girl and wanted to make her girly. No, it's just the fact that these parents are extremely supportive and feed her ego so very much, which has both given her a great confidence, which is a great strength, but they've also kind of given her this ginormous flaw of being kind of this incredibly dickish person. Kind of a dick.
Well, I suppose you can say that.
I would definitely kind of also say to that, Crimson, that I actually kind of found out Rainbow's kind of like the only one of the main six to run away from her family, really, to live independently, compared to say Fluttershy, in which her parents probably agreed to her moving out to be closer to the animals. Rainbow's was I'm hearing echo.
Me too, yeah.
Echo.
Oh my.
Echo.
The joy of technology.
No.
Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash really do treat their parents differently.
Yeah.
Rarity is kind of the closest one to Rainbow Dash in that aspect, in which she wanted to be more independent, but is still somewhat contacting them in some regard from season 2 to season 4. Like how she has Sweetie Belle to watch over sometimes. But
I've not seen Rarity's parents now in 6 seasons. And 6 seasons and
Twice.
season
They were in the
six-
background They were in the background a couple times, but they haven't had a real role since season 2.
Yeah,
Okay,
season
yeah.
2.
And even then, it's kind of like, hey, here's your sister. Bye!
But yeah, like it feels like Rainbow's like the only one who's not comfortable about like her family until somewhat now, and that's actually something I could actually relate to, due to the fact that I actually live by myself, and I rarely before visited my family a lot, but I'm now trying to fix that problem. So this episode I actually can relate to it more than Forever Philly, because I'm actually like the younger sibling to an older sister.
As far as the episode, I've actually got to give this episode a solid 10. This is a perfect episode to me, other than like the little bits that really bother me are kind of like these little nitpicks, really. Like if you really look at the episode as a whole, the flashback doesn't really bother the story. And for all we know, this isn't even an accurate representation. For all we know, those other older ponies are just what Rainbow Dash has put in place of the other ponies. Although you have to admit, baby versions of all the frickin' Wonderbolts are fucking adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I agree on the 10 out of 10. So we agree.
Okay.
Don't think I necessarily do, but I think we also have.
Okay, guys,
You gotta go.
I'm keeping quiet because I hate to be a wet blanket, but I really did not love this episode. I had
wow.
Wow. Huh.
Wow, this is a
I'd love to
twist.
hear your opinions
let's
on
see
this.
it.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Go for it, girl.
Okay. Well, one thing was just they used a trope that I find really annoying, which is where person A annoys and aggravates person B to the point that person B snaps at them, and then person B gets guilted into entirely backtracking. I've seen that so many times. That's what they used here, and first off, it completely invalidates Rainbow Dash's feelings. It's like, oh, you shouldn't be upset because your parents are overly supportive. You should be glad and grateful that they're there for you at all. And then it says that about the parents that so long as they're well-meaning, they can do whatever they want. They don't need to learn or change or anything.
Yeah, that's one of the problems I did have with this episode, but I kind of just enjoyed it so much that I didn't really bother with it that much.
Yeah, it's kind of like the only thing keeping it from being a top tier episode, honestly. That's why I only said it was great.
Like, to be honest, like I enjoyed it as much as like everyone else was saying for about the first 1/3. Like up to there, it was. I thought it was just pure kinetic energy. Like it was having a great time with just the Scootaloo's fangirling and just like taking that to about the most delightful extreme you could, and then simultaneously doing the same thing with these parents, and I thought laying really great groundwork, because I thought it made so much sense that parents like these made Rainbow Dash what she is, like wanting to live up to their praise and stuff. Okay, that was perfect. And like parents like these that have to like shove their kid in your face, and that are clearly very well-meaning, but also very not self-absorbed because it's about their kid, but very absorbed in something that leaves a lot. But then
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and it never addresses. And it never addresses that a lot of their actions are inappropriate. They were disruptive. They broke apart the performance because they were firing off fireworks. They were causing all the audience members around them to not be able to enjoy the show. They saved a dirty diaper for goodness knows how long.
That's still really gross.
Well, technically, they did say.
But I choose to believe that is not the real diaper. Like they actually did throw it, and they like made a scale model of it.
Well, actually, they did say.
That's the diaper she was wearing.
Yeah, she was wearing when she
believe
spoke her
that.
first word. So technically, they didn't say she used it when they took it off her to save it.
Hopefully it wasn't used at all.
I'm
I'll be
gonna go
grossed
with
out.
it.
I would actually argue with Calliope. I feel like in that sense of that part of the episode, I feel like it was a bit of like a karma going back for like holding the secret. Like instead of like the parents being upset, the fact that no one knew how extreme they were, like it is the parents' fault, but it's also kind of Rainbow Dash's fault and how much she kept under the rug essentially from these parents. That like when she was younger, they were like firework crazy, but it's all the pent up like energy, excitement over seeing their daughter fulfilling their dream.
Well, it's not.
But how far did they push her that she didn't want to tell her own parents about becoming a Wonderbolt? That she felt that she couldn't do that. How far did they push her to get her to that point?
I mean, they pushed her a long, long way. I don't think that her parents weren't overbearing. I don't necessarily think that their overbearingness is a problem. I mean, with the exception of the cannon or the fireworks, with the exception of that, I found that their treatment, like they were overbearing. They were obnoxious to, nearby, other people who are watching. But you have those type of fans at events, and like I don't see anything wrong with those fans existing because they're just trying to have fun too. I mean, like the problem
I don't know.
is
There's a point when your fans start getting a little creepy. Like I'm not even like.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even a big portion, but I went to a con and somebody actually recognized me. And they were starting to ask me very personal questions in front of a bunch of people, and I was just like, and I don't know how to respond.
No. I definitely agree with that. That there is a line that is trust, but I don't think that just wearing a bunch of like celebratory clothing and cheering your ass off is necessarily a bad. Like that's not necessarily going too far, as long as it's fitting to the situation. And they were at an event where people do cheer, and then they were at like an event, what was it, like a signing?
They smacked a pony in the face who was just trying to get an autograph.
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah, they did.
They threw it. Fans are going to be fans.
That's uncalled for, but fans are going to be
relationship.
fans. That's just
Parents, it's a relationship. I mean, I feel like they have some responsibility to make this okay as well. And I mean, like I do concur with Calliope's perspective, and I kind of have an alternate reason, like from what my reaction to what this episode was, kind of an alternate reason to Unova's for what I think the reason the episode made them that way was. I think this episode was even more impressed with its own humor than I was in the first 1/3, which is saying something. Like, I mean, because I feel like it didn't try to fall back on. It didn't like try to build a support beam to fall back on of, okay, how does this relationship work? Who has to give and take on what level? It was the same joke to the point where, long past the point where it was dead. Like, I mean, when they first showed up, like the humor with them in the megaphone disrupting the Wonderbolt's entire workouts, I mean, you can tell right there that, okay, now they're just opting for the point of sheer escalation. Like, okay, how much can my parents embarrass me? And like at that point, I wasn't like opting out. I was like, okay, well, there's still good potential here. The Wonderbolts are still really good. There's still funny moments with the parents. But when it gets to like you hang up that towel, I'm like, oh,
see,
Christ, this is painful and not fun painful.
I think you have to also keep in mind that this relies on perspective, especially considering that Rainbow Dash does care about her self-image a lot. And think of it personally. I mean, like, Scuttley did even said in canon of the show that she would like parents like that. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone cares about the self-image as much as others.
Yeah, and I mean, I felt like there could have been something cool to explore there, but I mean, like, even... when they actually attempt to do that, it almost undoes some of what was good about the earlier portion, because, okay, the flashback, it turns out Rainbow Dash did not become the way she is because she wanted to live up to all their parents' praise, or she not that she wanted more of it or wanted to keep getting it or anything like that. It was because she wanted everyone else to not give her funny looks when they cheered. She wanted to be able to stop cringing at everyone else. But then when she got there, when she started coming in first place, no, she still had a problem with them cheering for how great she was coming in first, even though it's Rainbow Dash, and then they just kind of gloss past the rest and get to, oh my gosh, I took my parents for granted because Scootaloo would have totally loved having parents like this, and they made me what I am.
See, I would say that the first bit with the cheering, I mean, it was nice. It was nice. I mean, it made me smile. I wouldn't necessarily say it made me laugh. I'd say that most of the all their ridiculousness was just smiles. Like it wasn't. I don't think that their overbearingness was like that funny. It had its moments, maybe like in the beginning and maybe a little in the middle, but overall, I wouldn't really say that. I think that the trope that you guys are talking about, it's definitely an annoying trope. I understand why you guys would be annoyed with it. I kind of personally, it depends on where it's placed. Sometimes the trope, I like it. Sometimes I think it fits. And I don't necessarily, there was something that you mentioned earlier on, Calliope, of like how the episode sort of basically declared one perspective as the winner and then another as being like totally moot. That perspective is wrong, that sort of thing. Personally, I don't really mind that. I think that whenever you ever do an episode moral, you're going to have to take a perspective on, you know, what went down. What's the end verdict? Even on, say, Forever Philly, there was a bit of an end verdict. And while, yeah, it was an end verdict on both of them, it was still a perspective. Like, it was still, I guess it was snubbing both of them, but it was still snubbing a perspective. I don't think that only snubbing one of the two makes it, or one of many, makes it, like, bad. Because, you know, sometimes one perspective is kind of more in the wrong. I guess that's the way to put it.
I mean, I could buy it in Forever. Like, Forever Philly, I felt like it could have been better, but, I mean, I can accept that, okay, changing Rarity's approach allows the relationship to be good again. This time around, I felt like they legitimately let something that was straight up not right stand with, like, these parents. I mean, I do think it comes across, like, I don't know if you can call this being self-absorbed, but yeah, how they have to shove their daughter in everyone else's
child-absorbed, I
face.
guess you could call it.
Yeah, and then they don't, like, they care not for how it becomes too much.
Oh, they're the embarrassing picture parents or the doting parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the trope is called, the doting parents. And it's kind of a mixture between the doting parents and the embarrassing old photo parents.
Yeah. I mean, just like,
There was one other thing about the episode that bothered me, although I will state straight up that it may just be because it's something that's kind of personal to me and may not have an effect for anyone else. When I was a kid, I knew some people who had that attitude of offering unconditional praise nonstop. Not my parents, but some other adults in my life were like that, and didn't matter what you did. They were like, oh, that's wonderful. That's great. We love it so much, even if you knew it was bad. And as a child, I hated that. And the point was they were trying to make me feel good all the time, and it had the opposite effect. It made me feel really bad to get that unconditional praise because I felt like I was not ever earning anything with them. Like, if they are going to praise something that's garbage, how am I ever supposed to know when they actually like it, when it really matters, when I actually did do a good job? And I hated that. I really, really hated being on the receiving end of that. So again, that's personal to me, and maybe no one else saw it that way, but that affected me with this episode.
I guess with me, my parents, as far as I remember, my dad was usually hungover for most of my great events. Or just the fact that he was a Marine. Like my dad was a Marine, and he was like higher up in the Marines, so usually his reaction when I did anything good was, "Oh, cool. Good job." I never got to this day, I guess this is kind of my own daddy issues. Like, to this day, whenever I hear the phrase my dad saying anything along the lines of, "I'm so proud of you," I like immediately bawl and I just cry so much because I didn't really get that. My dad wasn't really a huge part of that. Like, whenever my mom says it, I'm like, "Thank you, Mom. Thank you. I love you too." And then when my dad says it, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, because my dad was there for a lot of the things that I did. So in this episode, having this father figure be as supportive as he is, even with as crazy as he is, it kind of touched me a little bit. And I also think that it did help his character with the whole having open up his shirt, seeing a huge picture of Rainbow Dash's cutie mark, and suddenly going like, "Do you wear that every day?" And then he's like, "Well, it's actually laundry day."
This episode was on a hot streak with the jokes at that part.
Yeah.
Oh, don't remind me.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to what you said, Calliope. Like, I definitely understand that feeling. I've gone through that myself. But I guess I don't know. I guess my perspective is I kind of see it from the other lens of like, there are some parents that, and I think this definitely applies for Rainbow Dash's parents, that they literally can't see, like, it is so uncomfortable for them to see anything bad in Rainbow Dash that they honestly probably intentionally choose not to. Because that condition right there of what they were doing, it's definitely a human thing, but it's not a usual thing. That's not something that people, like, the level that they went at was extreme, and I would say that there is definitely, like, probably a good amount of reason for it. Not that it's like validating it, but that, like, it makes it really hard. The way that, like, there's some times where something bad is going on, but because of just the circumstances that exist, you can't really resolve it. Like, Rainbow Dash may have said to her parents, "Hey, can you cool it down a little bit?" Like, when she was younger, she may have said that. We don't know, but even if she did, the end result is that I don't think it would have worked. Like, I think her parents were really just that obsessed, that they were obsessed with their daughter, like, to a large degree.
To a almost
I definitely
uncomfortable degree, because they keep, well, I want to believe so much that they didn't actually get the thing, like, get the diaper goldened. I just want to think, okay, they like took a picture of it and took it to somebody to sculpt it. Yeah, that's what happened. No.
We all need to cope with that scene in our own way.
Although I did really enjoy the opening scene. I feel like I've been dumping all over this episode. I did really enjoy the opening scene where Scootaloo launched herself up and met Rainbow Dash's parents. That was delightful. And I love the sound effect with the door.
Oh yeah.
I think it's really
installed it myself.
that when you say something more often, it means less, and when you see something less often, it means more.
Yeah, I think that's another theme in this episode.
I mean,
but unfortunately, I think it wasn't really explored with that.
I mean, this episode did definitely. I feel like it definitely had on its mind the theme of actually something that's coming up a lot lately of like support versus too much, like making kids feel entitled, or heck, making it feel like your praise is nothing special because you give it all the time. Like, it brings up participation awards. Well, almost too deliberately. Like, I didn't go for the way they phrased it, but it has Rainbow Dash straight up say, "You guys are," extra emphasis, "too supportive." Like, so I mean, I feel like just about everybody was raised by someone. So I mean, I feel like everybody could probably relate to this on some level. Whether it even realized it or not, though, I mean, I do kind of agree with Calabi. Like I said, I don't go for how it just went all the way towards the parents' side of it. Like, 100% endorse them.
But on the other hand, you also have to think about the fact that this is a show targeted towards little kids, and if like DHX or Hasbro even thought about saying maybe the parents aren't always right, because usually whenever people talk about their whenever like parents are talked about in the media, it's because we don't want a revolution between the youth and the adults.
Well, I mean, it didn't have a problem with it in Diamond Tiara, though, and I feel like when you're talking about a child,
but here's the difference. Here's the difference. Spoiled Milk, and yes, I will call her Spoiled Milk. She is portrayed as this villain character.
Yeah, but the
There's
parents could have been portrayed negatively too. I mean, I don't necessarily think that because their parents
here in this
they have an unlimited, unlimited invincible status. Like, they're not invincible. They just because they're parents. We like a similar sort of negative light could have been painted for them, like it was painted for Spoiled. I'm not saying.
Yeah, and I feel like on the flip side of that, kids, even if their parents are being perfectly reasonable, kids get that, get it in their heads sometimes that, okay, my parents are just bad, or just evil, like, or I can stick it to them by being self-righteous enough.
But even the go-kart episode, which none of us really enjoyed, I think, but even the go-kart episode had a solid moral of grown-ups don't always know best, and it's okay to express yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
For the record, I actually didn't hate that episode. I kind of liked it.
I didn't hate it. I just didn't really like it either.
Yeah.
I thought that was okay.
That was a marginal thumbs down there, but
don't like it. I still don't like it. Like, it's written horribly. There's really not a whole lot to enjoy other than maybe the first part, like before the intro, and then by the time it gets to after the intro, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't like it either. But I think we already did a cast on that.
Yeah, please look at the link below.
I'm not going
on
into
the
that
screen
at all.
I think comparing it to, like,
I'm just wondering, are we gonna move on to Starflight, because
that's right, we have Starflight's thoughts still, and
yes,
she said, or would you like to read them, Unova?
I guess I'll read it just so that there won't be a mistake. So.
Hey!
Oh, burn!
Hey, wow. You messed up like 3 sentences last time. Don't think I forgot that.
Okay, so actually, I'm kind of so with Parental Glideance. I do like how it gave backstory for Rainbow Dash, but Dash's melodramatic parents ruined it for me. I believed I muttered to myself quite a lot, "Oh, please shut up, you're ruining the show, why?" Perhaps it's not because I'm not quite fully mature, as I am only just 18 years old, and I do consider myself a quite modest person. Don't get me wrong, I like it when my family, not just my parents, are supportive of my achievement, but I tend to be quiet, obviously, seeing how I am typing my thoughts and not being vocal about it. I was on Dash's side when she told that her parents she told her parents down and said that they were embarrassing. I didn't quite agree when she actually made them upset, but she had to speak up for herself. The most I can take from this episode was when Scootaloo said, "I met your parents hoping to learn more about you, but I don't like what I found out." Anything else to do my hero report on. At that point, I felt like Rainbow Dash because I was looked up to by a friend. One day I did terrible things and I still regret them and admittedly beat myself over for it. And in both Scootaloo's and Rainbow Dash's places, I do understand their point of views. But other than that, nothing quite stood out for me. I like the designs of Rainbow Dash's parents. I like their colors. It was also nice to see flashbacks and cute mini Wonderbolts. I love cute little ponies. I rate this episode 7 out of 10.
Interesting. I do agree. I totally see what she meant when she said the Scootaloo, like all of a sudden, like, I guess I'll write my report on someone else. that like, to me, in my view, Scootaloo was just being very reactive there.
Just a little bit fickle.
Yeah, I'm not really sure she would be able to follow through on that. Like, at all.
The second Rainbow Dash goes back on it, she's already back into fangirl mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Rainbow Dash learns the error of her ways. Perfect.
Exactly, yeah.
I think he placed that in her report, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I did think Scootaloo's slice of the moral was pretty well done, like, with how she would appreciate some support. I mean, I did appreciate how she vouches for that. I don't feel like the episode drew together a cohesive whole as morals go. And I think the reason more than anything was just because it was so caught up in, hitting us over the head with the same humor. And Starflight says, and I doubt Scootaloo doesn't look up to anybody else, since she did imply, I believe, that she doesn't have any pony else to support her.
That is true.
Yeah.
I did say in the canon of the show that she wished she had parents like that, and it seems that since her parents are apparently a mystery, she doesn't really have anyone to support other than her friends.
I mean, I guess the implication with Scootaloo following Rainbow Dash was that she was looking for somebody to look up to when she settled on Rainbow Dash.
I mean, in that sort of sense, then maybe it's not even the fact that she's an orphan, like we all think in our fan canon. It's like, maybe it's something a bit more depressing that her parents are right about.
I sense a theory.
I would honestly be content
theory.
if they never ever addressed Scootaloo's parents, because I think that from everything we've seen, it is quite depressing, and obviously they can't show that. So if they ever did, put in anything on her parents, it would probably be a lot more cheery than what everything suggests.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, it just feels like we might not need to go to
a great war.
A great war.
There was a great war, and her parents are still fighting it in their underground lair.
And this is what Starflight has to say. Or any family, really. She could be raised by an older sibling or grandparent for all we know. That can also make sense. That's a
possibility.
Because maybe it's like for Apple Bloom, she's able to respect and look up to Granny Smith because she's active. Maybe she's raised by a grandparent who doesn't move that much at all. And maybe doesn't even talk that much. But,
can we not be this depressing? It's a kid show about candy-colored ponies. Motherfucker, leave them alone.
Well, to be fair, I guess with they definitely. I mean, they have pretty much confirmed that Applejack's parents will never be coming back, and I mean, I feel like it seems like they're okay with at least heavily implying it or all but outright stating it, as long as they just they don't have to actually focus on the sad side and only focus on how everyone has overcome it. It's kind of like Phineas and Ferb with how they're a mixed family, and the writers said, like, yeah, we're never going to explore what happened because all that matters now is that everybody's happy and they're ready for the future.
I see.
It ain't pertinent, and it goes against the, core audience that they're trying to sell to. Then yeah,
Unless you
something.
have children who don't have their parents around, they need someone to relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I will be
Pretty much
brutally honest. I don't think that
everyone.
a lot of-
Superman.
I don't think a lot of TV CEOs really care about that, for better or worse.
I mean, yeah, I feel like the writers would go at least a little further if the hands weren't just a little bit tied. I mean, there is such a thing as TV shows playing it safe, and people don't like when I take points off for that, and I'm like, it's cool that there's a reason for it, but I mean, like, I'm still going to give the stuff that was done better more credit, or more daring more credit.
Have we already reached final thoughts for Glideance yet?
Well, it seems
I
like
think so.
All right,
Like mixed it up a bit. Also, if anybody's noticed, we have like our last bit of info from Starlight or Star
Star,
Light.
didn't we?
Color Silver Star. Just
Starlight.
Silver Star.
Yeah, because
Starlight, star bright. I wish on the star I see tonight. Please, Silver Star, please say your might. For I got
yeah,
lost.
I've already read that, how she could have been raised by an older sibling or a grandparent.
Yeah.
But otherwise, though, I mean, yeah, if you guys want to just remind everybody what you thought in a sentence or two.
In a sentence or two, I guess I could say that I definitely understand exactly where, Calliope and Second are coming from on this episode. But honestly, I thought it was real. I thought it was a good episode. I thought that this trope worked well here. And honestly, the only little criticism I have towards it, maybe Rainbow Dash could have, eased into that revelation. Granted, it would have meant that they'd have to change things around on the structure, but it just seems like that it was quite extreme. So beyond that, I mean, I'd still say that it's a 10. Honestly, it was decent for me. So yeah.
Silver Star mentions now, I thought it was a great episode, but overzealousness ruined it for me. Again, 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Go ahead. I didn't think we were going in order anymore. I thought we threw order out the window, but
fair enough.
Have you met the Rift Cafe? We have lost order long before.
We had no order.
Have we?
I order you to be quiet and move on with this.
Exactly.
No.
okay. I really enjoyed the first act. That was just Scootaloo and Dash's parents. I really enjoyed that. I thought the comedy was spot on. I didn't like where they went with it.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, I'm in the exact same boat there. I thought it was like on an absolute hot streak for the first 1/3 or so, and then started to run that joke into the ground, and then, like, yeah, by the last 1/3, just like, I mean, all the moments that were still working were gone. All the attempts to, like, flesh out the theme were falling flat for me, and I mean, it's kind of odd to, like, for me to rank this below some of the episodes from this season that I was just, happy enough about. But I mean, because this probably gave, like, that first 1/3 was so much more than pretty much any episode gave me this season. But it's like after that, it wasn't just like, okay, then there wasn't much after that. It actually partly undid some of what was good about that first third. So I'd say like a B-.
For me, I would very much say that this now, after rethinking about it after 3 weeks, one of my absolute favorite episodes of season 7. And the fact that it's episode 7 that we reach a hot streak. Ha ha! Lucky 7! We're going up there! Woo!
Well, I think, yet again, another great episode that showcases character development. Props to Hasbro for taking a risk with this episode.
I think they kind of pulled back on the risk, to be honest. If we're going to be talking about what we've been talking about, they kind of did pull it back on the risk of saying, oh, your parents are wrong. There's a difference between saying grown-ups are wrong, older sisters are wrong, but your parents are a different thing, unless they're actually made into a villain-like character. It's kind of weird.
Let's say, they're placed into a situation where they're morally wrong.
Where they're morally wrong, but they're good people. That's the issue that they just didn't break, and I feel like that's what really everybody's kind of going like, it's kind of like,
okay.
Anybody else, or is everyone satisfied?
God damn it, now I'm thinking of Hamilton.
I demand satisfaction. You will duel me.
God damn it, I got that song. I just got that song out of my head. Just got it out of my head. Fuck you.
I could start singing.
God damn it, no. No.
I think I heard enough singing for today.
Well,
Wait,
all we need is another song to take the place of that one, I'm sure. For example, check me out, racing the derby, check out my old-fashioned cart. Check me out, racing the derby in my original work of art. Okay, I better end this before everybody forms an angry mob at me.
I will now be planning your death slowly and painfully. I believe past analysis will be right there next to me.
You weren't already?
Oh, by the way, Crimson, when you actually sung that song, there was actually my brain paused for a few seconds in order for me to avoid acknowledging that you sung that song. So
I forgot which song you're talking about.
And I hope you never remember.
Is it Barney is a dinosaur of our imagination?
Oh no, it's Go. It's Go.
That's just Yankee Doodle reworded.
Oh, that
was second.
That was second who said that.
Second?
Wow, I sing like Crimson.
Wow, that means you're a great singer, only matched by Ellie Monty. No, not really. I'm not that great. I wish I was that great. Are you kidding me?
I'm not much of a singer either, so I'll still take it.
I used to sing, but I stopped doing it.
I have a lot of songs on my channel for a guy who's not much of a singer.
For me,
I love to sing, but not good at it.
For me, I actually consider myself decent. I wish I could have trained a bit more in singing, maybe gone to chorus during high school, and then maybe a little bit in middle school, but I passed on that opportunity because I was thinking about maybe I should be a law student. And then that was cast aside.
Well,
or law is hard.
Sad discussion.
All right. And now it's time for So Long. But we'll sing just one more song. Or just go around
so
and
long,
say goodbye.
I'll feed you.
Adieu, adieu to you and you.
Goodbye, goodbye, our love so long. Together we'll find you. We're gonna be together again. But for now we must part and say goodnight.
All right. Anyway, so back to our freaking endings.
The critic first and the fan second. Let's get the heck out of here.
This is Unova Brony signing off.
This has been your future evil overlord, Crimson Glow, and say hi to your parents and stop taking your older siblings for granted. Like, actually talk to them. Jesus Christ.
And this is Nuggets, and the little cult is now signing off.
This is Calliope. Have a good night, everybody.
And Starflight said this was fun. Thanks for including me. Thanks for coming. And Pass says bye to wherever he is.
And Silver Star, this is her actual ending. This is Silver Star, and not sure. Have a good day, night, afternoon.
Ding. All right.
Ding is a good note to go out on, so there we are.
Ding.
Ding.